Hello and welcome to CTV News across Canada for Wednesday, December 31st. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
The road closed signs started to come out across Midwestern Ontario on Monday night as wind and snow made for many impassable roads.
I can tell people that if they do see a road closure sign in place, trust that there's a good reason for that. Please do not go around that sign. We've got it closed because there's a collision ahead, or there's unsafe conditions, or there's debris on the roadway. Whatever the case may be, the police will ultimately decide to close and reopen a road.
Not everyone has been heeding Solden's words. South Bruce OPP say a coach bus driver was stopped twice over the past 2 days, driving on a closed highway near Kincardine.
And if you do go around those signs, you can be charged under the Highway Traffic Act. So just prepare, check your weather sources, and make sure that you're not traveling unnecessarily. If you do need to travel, make sure you plan ahead.
Around noon hour, a brief reprieve as a handful of closed roads reopened, but that's not expected to last very long. And if by some far-off chance you might be looking for some more wintry weather, you're in luck. There is the possibility of 25 to 50 centimeters more of snow by Thursday morning, which means a lot more shoveling and snow blowing is in the near future for residents of Huron, Bruce, Grey, Wellington, and Perth counties.
I'm living the Canadian dream. This is what I live for.
You honestly like winter?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can make money shoveling.
Blowing snow and snow squall warnings still blanket Midwestern Ontario and will likely stay in place until New Year's Day as Mother Nature ends 2025 the way it started it, with a wintry mess. In Wingham, Scott Miller, CTV News.
It was a devastating discovery early in the morning on December 26th. The bodies of Christine Sauvé and Alain Noël were found in their home by their son.
We're like in a big shock, everybody here.
Christine's brother, Gilles Sauvé Jr., says the Gatineau couple purchased the home in the town of Villa Rivera in the Dominican Republic 4 years ago. They visit regularly and were planning to spend winters here when they retired.
It's really a nice community here. It's a nice place, and all French people, so everything was incredible here.
The cause of their deaths is still unknown. Sauvé says autopsies have been performed, but the results will only be released in 10 to 30 days. Only then can they get their death certificates to repatriate their bodies. Sauvé adds there's been no indication of suicide or anything criminal.
My sister, the day before her death, was had a little issue of sickness, of being lightheaded and all that.
Sauvé says she went to the hospital for tests on the 24th and was supposed to go back after Christmas. Meantime, support has been pouring in for the couple, who was well known in Gatineau. Their elaborate Halloween displays raised thousands for Chio Children's Hospital, says Sauvé. His father was also a former co-owner of the Gatineau Olympiques junior hockey team. The entire organization, including the players as well as the hockey and administrative staff, wishes to extend its most sincere condolences to Mr. Gilles Sauvé, his family, his loved ones, and to all those affected by this difficult ordeal. Global Affairs Canada says it's aware of the couple's death. GAC expresses its condolences to the family and loved ones. Canadian officials are providing consular assistance and are in contact with local authorities to gather more information. Though Sauvé says getting information from Canadian and Dominican officials has been difficult.
It's going slowly, really slowly.
As they process their grief while waiting for answers. Angela McKenzie, CTV News.
Look closely. This is the man Toronto police are searching for, both with officers on the ground around Withrow Park near Logan and Danforth and through a public appeal.
So we're hoping that someone in the community recognizes this person.
Officers say on Thursday, December 18th in the afternoon after school, someone allegedly handed papers to several children in the park with inappropriate and sexual messages, then took off.
It would probably be something that, when they glance at children who glance at it, or parents, that it's something that an adult should not be saying to children, especially children they don't know.
Families find the situation unsettling.
Obviously unpleasant and unexpected.
I think it's disgusting. I think it's really sad.
Police say they put out information about the incident on Saturday, December 21st, but haven't been able to identify the man in these images. He's believed to be between 30 and 40 years old and about 6 feet tall. He was seen wearing a black hooded jacket with a gray crossbody bag. Area residents we spoke with are on alert.
Definitely, I think keeping an eye out and keeping updated on the developments.
If I happen to do see someone that matches that description, then I have no problems alerting the police. Yeah, I think it's terrible. It's really distressing. I'm sure it was for the kids as well.
Officers say several children were approached, and from there, the interaction was reported. But it's still not clear exactly how many saw or were handed the papers.
We are concerned that there may be other children that were approached and have not reported yet. So if that's the case, please reach out.
Police say it's important for parents to have conversations with their kids and remind them if they feel uncomfortable or unsafe to tell someone. Mitchell's son Mateo is 9 years old.
We talking about since maybe 4 or 5 years ago in the street. If somebody approached to him, he knows he has to ask for help.
Right now, the hope is people can help police identify the man and make sure the neighborhood is safe.
This is the scene at here, Ontario and Dundas this morning. Instead of streets, the roadways looked like running rivers with people sliding their way to work.
The whole area is full of water, so I'm totally wet and soaked.
Commuters carefully minced their way across the street, hoping not to fall. Unfortunately, they were sloshing through several inches of water with a layer of ice underneath.
This is a mess, man.
It's really difficult and hassle, to walk here because everything's closed.
The region of Peel originally thought there was a water main break, but then the water operations team determined someone had driven into a hydrant sometime before 6 a.m., knocking it over. In order to isolate the hydrant, they shut down the water main around 9:30, meaning businesses in 25 plazas and complexes were without power.
Our coffee machine basically runs on the water. With no water, we had no customers this morning, so we had to shut down the cafe.
It's been really irritating because we are not getting any more customers at the moment and we are unable to open the business.
Businesses were impacted and so were their customers. This woman was at the dentist when the water went off, for example.
You know what happened? They were fixing my teeth and all of a sudden the water just ran out. And I was like, what's happening? They could have told us,
And they turned off the water while they were fixing your teeth, so how did that impact you?
It wasted my time because I had to wait for the water to come back.
Others had to cancel or rearrange their plans.
We're supposed to have blood works here, but we have to find another clinic and cross.
I work in a restaurant, but I gotta get some money, but now I can't make it. Too much water.
7 hours after the whole ordeal began, however, the water was restored, with businesses, road traffic, and daily life resuming as normal. And as you can see, traffic is back to normal here, Ontario, and many of the businesses were able to reopen without issue, although some did throw in the towel and closed up shop for the day a little early. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding.
Some people went to bed last night with an icy mess outside. Others woke up to it after a storm system that brought freezing rain, snow, or rain, depending on where in the Maritimes you live.
Unfortunately, what we've seen this month is just storm system after storm system after storm system.
In Cape Breton, the story today was high winds after rain overnight and early this morning. In what has been an all too familiar theme this December, ferry crossings between North Sydney and Newfoundland were cancelled again today. Tonight's sailings are called off too.
And in the long-range forecast, we're seeing another system moving in later this week.
By this afternoon, here in the Sydney area, the sun was shining again and the pavement was bare on the roads and highways around here. But between 7 a.m. yesterday and 10 a.m. today, RCMP in Nova Scotia say they responded to dozens of accidents all across the province.
Due to the freezing rain and the conditions, we were told, I think there were 93 different collisions across the province.
While the vast majority of those were on mainland Nova Scotia, the Mounties are reminding people of the hazards anytime it gets slick like this.
As you know, there's still some rutting here on some of the highways, the parts that aren't done, and that's causing a problem where people are actually driving in the rut and they're actually driving in what are like little lakes.
So we were excited to see that the wind and rain actually came today and not tomorrow for our New Year's Eve celebration.
Despite today's wind gusts, the setup, including the big Ferris wheel, went ahead today in downtown Sydney for the Cape Breton Regional Municipality's New Year's Eve party planned for tomorrow night.
Overall, it's not too bad for our crews. They're used to setting up in some winds, but the winds have subsided, so it's not impeding in setting up the New Year's Eve celebration.
Meanwhile, Nova Scotia Power says its system held up pretty well in all of this mess, with only a small number of outages, adding that an outage affecting about 15,000 customers last night in the lower Sackville, Bedford and Waverley areas had to do with a piece of equipment at a substation and doesn't appear to have been caused by the weather. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
Angelina Bosia and her family had plans to spend New Year's in New Jersey. Those plans are in jeopardy now after their Porter flight was canceled Tuesday morning.
We just got an email saying that the flight got canceled, so we came this morning and they repeated that the flight was canceled and that we just had to be rebooked until January 5th, which is not an option for us.
Freezing rain, blowing snow, and high winds have been wreaking havoc on the YOW departures board this week.
I saw the forecast for today and I saw that the wind was over, so there shouldn't be a climate reason for cancellation. And again, they didn't say any reason. They just said it's canceled.
It's a similar situation for Matea Antonova, whose Porter flight to Fredericton has also been canceled. She's been at the Ottawa airport since 9 p.m. last night.
They said that the second flight from Ottawa to Fredericton was canceled. And then last minute they were like, no, just get on the flight. It'll be easier. The people in Ottawa will figure it out. And then when we got here, there was nothing. We didn't get a hotel or anything.
And throughout Tuesday, delays and cancellations by WestJet, Air Canada, Porter, and United kept piling up, with passengers left in the cold by airlines.
Nothing from them, just flight delay, flight delay, flight delay. I know many people are pissed off for 3, 4, 5 days for people we've been talking to, so hopefully we get some solution soon, hopefully be able to fly out soon.
There's so many people canceled and their solution is always to add people on already booked flights.
And with the clock ticking towards New Year's, these flyers say time is running out.
My next flight is tomorrow at 7 p.m. So then I'd arrive, I think at 9:30 p.m. on New Year's Eve. I was supposed to be there yesterday at 1 p.m.
We're just hoping for a miracle.
In a statement to CTV News, Porter Airlines says the extreme weather and subsequent effects on crew being displaced is the reason behind so many delays and cancellations. The company says for cases within its control, passengers stranded by cancellations are eligible for hotel and meal vouchers, but those aren't applicable for cancellations due to weather.
The new carbon monoxide requirements take effect January 1st. All homes with fuel-burning appliances like water heaters, furnaces, stoves, dryers, and fireplaces will need additional CO detectors. According to the new regulations, there must be an alarm beside every bedroom and on every floor of the home. Even if you already have a detector, you will need to add more.
So the changes came about in order to protect Ontarians as best as we possibly can. We've seen numbers increase year over year. This is a gas that you can't smell, taste, or see.
The Fire Marshal's office says over 65% of carbon monoxide incidents and deaths occur in the home. The new rules apply to both new and existing homes.
But at the end of the day, if you don't have a carbon monoxide alarm on every story, you are going to have to go out there and protect yourself with one.
The Barrie Fire Department says CO calls historically go up during the winter season.
Mainly, I think it's because of the buildup of snow. We're not getting proper ventilation. We're using, our fireplaces to produce heat, and maybe they haven't been serviced by a qualified technician. So carbon monoxide, especially because we live in Ontario, we have, our winters, and then sometimes things will back up into our home. We want to be extra safe.
Fire experts remind people the only way to detect carbon monoxide is by having a carbon monoxide detector. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Barrie.
Replica handguns are in police crosshairs. That from a recent police board meeting. North Bay's acting deputy chief highlights they're trying to clamp down on the number of fake guns circulating in the community.
They're designed to look like a real gun.
Police believe a majority of the replicas are coming up from the Toronto area to be used as a part of drug deals in the north. But they're also commonly used in other crimes.
Those are being used in not only the drug world, but they're being used in, armed robberies, intimidation type things.
The concern for police is that when they're called to a situation involving a gun, officers must treat the situation as if it's a real weapon. Police don't actually keep inventory of the number of fake guns they confiscate, but add keeping tabs on how many they do seize might be an initiative they start sometime soon.
When we seize a real firearm, like considered a crime gun, we have to send that away for testing. We try to find the origin, stuff like that. We just don't do that with replica handguns.
According to Public Safety Canada, in 2020, replica guns were the second most frequently used firearm in a gun-related crime. On its website, it states the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police has asked us to prohibit these devices to help avoid these situations. Warner notes that criminal charges do not diminish if crooks are using a replica handgun.
I don't know if the impression is out there that, it's only a replica handgun, so I can't get in as much trouble. But as I said to the board, people are wrong.
Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
This is Brian Marbury, captured on surveillance video at a motel on Huron Church Road in May 2023. A few hours later, his estranged wife of nearly 20 years, 36-year-old Sarah Boulay, enters the same room. She was never seen alive again. Today in Superior Court, Marbury told Boulay's family, "When I went to sleep, Sarah was alive. When I woke up in the morning, she was not alive." It was the first time Marbury offered his explanation for what happened to Boulay. Marbury was found guilty of first-degree murder by a Windsor, Essex jury.
This is something that we have to deal with as the virus it is.
Fatuma Kusau was a witness at trial and one of 9 people to present a victim impact statement to the court Tuesday. Many family members wearing these purple sweaters with Boulay's face and her favorite quote.
Realizing that if you couldn't love, that is the greatest tragedy of it all in life.
Marbury never said he was sorry for what happened to Boulay, but admitted to her family he betrayed them when describing Boulay as a gifted and special person.
That shows you how much far from reality people who commit these kind of crimes are, that where they don't really own it and take responsibility for it.
Sarah Boulay's body was found in a shallow grave, decomposition already starting. Family members told the court it remains traumatizing that they were denied the chance to properly bury Boulay's body in accordance with Muslim culture and tradition. Her kindness and forgiveness were taken advantage of by her own husband, Boulay's sister told the court, and he treated her like garbage to be taken out. Marbury was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. His DNA will remain on a Canadian database, and he will have a 10-year ban on owning any weapons when he gets out. Marbury will then be deported to the U.S. Many of the family members thanked police for solving this crime and those in the judicial system for seeing Marbury convicted.
The cycle of domestic violence that plagues our society simply has to end. I've had a more than 30-year career. It's been a plague from day one when I started, and it continues.
Defense lawyer Ken Marley was not available for an interview outside of court today, but he did tell me he wouldn't comment on Marbury's statement today to the judge because Marbury may or may not be appealing that conviction. Now, before the murder trial even started back in September, Brian Marbury pleaded guilty to causing an indignity to a human body. He was sentenced to 3.5 years for that conviction alone today, but it will run concurrently against his first-degree murder conviction and sentence of life in prison. Stephanie, Brian Marbury can't apply for parole until 2048. That is 25 years after he was first arrested in June 2023.
One person is dead and 3 people are injured after a shooting on Big Island Lake, Cree Nation.
We don't take safety issues lightly, and we are working as quickly as we can.
RCMP were first alerted at 6 a.m. with a report of a shooting before issuing a dangerous persons alert less than 3 hours later, saying 2 people were last seen on an ATV in the First Nation but could be in the surrounding area. Anyone living on Big Island Lake were told to find a safe location, stay there, and lock all doors.
We don't have indication of how they were dressed. This did occur at nighttime. So we do have to be very cognizant of not rushing the investigation.
St. Germain wasn't divulging many details of the investigation. She says that's because she's not there, and the integrity of the investigation and the subsequent court process needs to be protected. She says the shooting happened outside, but RCMP couldn't say which direction the suspects went. Major crimes investigators from Saskatchewan arrived at Big Island Lake at 2 o'clock, and officers from more than 5 areas of the province are there working to find the suspects. RCMP say it does not have specific details about the person who died, injuries or hospitalizations, or if the shooting was random or targeted.
We don't want to have tunnel vision as we're going into these investigations, and we need to be open-minded about what may or may not have happened.
The province put 7 healthcare facilities in the area on lockdown. Late Tuesday afternoon, RCMP canceled the dangerous persons alert, saying there was no longer an imminent risk to public safety and people could return to normal activities. No arrests have been made, and the suspects remain at large, with officers still actively looking to find them. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The National Police Federation has issues with the Alberta Next Panel's recommendations to end the province's contract with the RCMP in 2032 and replace it with a provincial police force.
It's basically recycling sensitive and outdated claims to revive a policing proposal that Albertans have already rejected.
The panel, led by Premier Danielle Smith, says a provincial referendum on the topic is inappropriate, saying only 20% of Albertans are served by the RCMP. The Alberta RCMP says that figure is 40%. The RCMP's union says it held its own province-wide town halls 4 years ago in a campaign called Keep Alberta RCMP to counter the 2020 Fair Deal panel, which was the original form of the Alberta Next panel.
That despite there being a clear lack of interest in this from the people that actually foot the bill, the taxpayer, the province continues to kind of trudge down this road come hell or high water.
The press secretary of Alberta's public safety minister says it's reviewing the recommendations and adds once fully operational, the Alberta Sheriff's Police Service will help fill gaps and the government will give municipalities more options for local policing. A local criminologist points to the new Grand Prairie Police Service as a potential blueprint for other towns to consider, and is perhaps a reason why a provincial police force may seem more palatable now.
And maybe this is the time where the RCMP needs to start to look at more federal and that type of thing, more like the FBI, and every province could go to a provincial police agency.
CTV's public safety analyst says the RCMP's union has little say if the UCP go ahead with a provincial police service.
The bottom line is if the province makes the decision to go a different route, then that's something that's going to happen.
The union says it's not giving up. Nicole Lampa, CTV News, Edmonton.